Controversy is so much fun. I'm not even gonna lie, these videos are literally my favorite to film. I love when it gets spicy in the comments. Hey guys, what is up? It's HL Manga here and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Now, as today's video title suggests, I will be going over 5 more manga series that I have decided to personally drop. Now, I actually filmed a video like this, the first part, about a year ago or so, and it actually sparked a lot of very interesting conversation, a lot of debate, a lot of kind of anger, but in every good way. I love filming these videos because it just kind of reiterates how everyone collects differently and just how everyone has their own unique tastes and preferences. And honestly, if we all read the same thing and all had the same collection, our manga community would be so boring. Disclaimer aside, let's get right into it. These are 5 more manga series I've decided to drop. Okay, so the first manga series I have for you guys today that I decided to drop is none other than Golden Kamuy. Now, this may or may not come as a surprise to you. If you've seen the video where I kind of talked about the least favorite manga in my collection that I still had, Golden Kamuy actually made that list, and since that video I have indeed decided to sell it. That was honestly something kind of hard to sell because I was completely up to date with it, and there was like 23, 24 volumes, and they're not cheap, so selling that amount of volumes in one time definitely kind of was a little painful. Regardless, let's go into Golden Kamuy. So Golden Kamuy was a series that I really only hear really good things about. Like, a lot of people in the community really enjoy it, a lot of people really like to consume it, and they have the manga, and just like, it's a very, I think, maybe not well known, but a lot of people know of it, and a lot of people hear really good things. And that's what I went into Golden Kamuy expecting, and honestly, I read the first couple volumes, and I did genuinely enjoy the series. It was very interesting, I really liked the art, but as I progressed in the series, and as I heard the Prom G talk about it, my perspective kind of changed ever since the Prom G said. He essentially said something to the extent of, there's too much in Golden Kamuy. I completely agree, and it completely changed my perspective on the series. Golden Kamuy is one of those series that has almost literally everything in it. There's romance, there's violence, there's gore, there's history, there's cooking, and in my opinion, there's almost too much in that series for me to kind of focus and understand what the series is actually trying to be about. And I think those little side notes, like the history and the cooking and all that sort of stuff, while they're cool, it takes away from the main plot of the series, and it honestly kind of diverts my attention from what's actually trying to go on. And there's also a lot of different characters that I couldn't quite keep track of. There's just so many different people with different names. I was kind of confused a lot of the time, and I really genuinely think if they would have focused primarily on a couple key things, maybe history, maybe the action, I feel like if they would have focused on a few key things versus 500 different things, I would have received the series a lot better. That's why, number 1, I decided to drop Golden Kamuy. There was just too much in it, I couldn't keep track, and I think it really, because of all the different genres and themes and all that sort of stuff, I think it really distracted from the main plot of the series to the point where I just couldn't keep up with it, and I just decided to drop it. Okay, so the next manga series that I decided to drop is one that honestly I'm very surprised that I decided to drop it, because it's a series that genuinely going into it I thought I was going to adore and love, and that is actually Fist of the North Star. So I decided to pick up this series because, one, I've heard a lot of people really hype it up, genuinely, and also I've heard that it was a lot of the inspiration behind JoJo's, and I love JoJo's, definitely one of my favorite series, so I decided to pick it up. And, right off the bat, 1, the art is superb, it's amazing, and number 2, the releases by Viz are beautifully done. They're really nice hardcover, just white books with some glossy detailing on it. Overall, the release looked so nice. It's the same size as JoJo's, which I also really like. Regardless, I read the first 2 volumes, and to me personally, I just couldn't grasp what the main plot was. Like, I didn't understand what the goal of our main character was, what he was trying to do, because it was like in the first volume. In the first volume, you got introduced to our main character, Ken, and we also kind of learned about the world that he was in. Regardless, it was like the first volume, it was like, okay, there was a clear, in my mind, there was a clear plot point, there was a clear goal that he was going to, he had to go and meet this person, destroy this person, and I'm like, okay, this is what the series is going to be about. It's not going to be something where, it's one and done in the next 5 chapters. It literally, what I thought the main plot point was and what it was going to be throughout the entire series, was resolved within, I think, either the first volume or partway into the second volume. And I was I was so confused. I think, you know, me setting that expectation for the series in the sense of, hey, this is gonna be like a couple, you know, volume long thing, like this is gonna be the span of the series, this is gonna be the main plot point. When it wasn't, I was like, what did I just read? And was it really supposed to wrap up that fast? Like, to me, the series doesn't, from what I read, again, this is what I read, I haven't, you know, read the entire thing, I might be completely wrong, but from what I've read, there wasn't like a clear plot point. And he just kind of seemed to be going around just being a Chad and beating up dudes, which honestly, don't get me wrong, I respect that. And I like that within a certain context. But this was just kind of one of those contexts that I was just kind of confused and just really didn't understand what the objective was and kind of that whole sort of thing. So again, if I would have read on in the series, maybe there would have been more plot points and an actual plot that I really would have grasped onto. And maybe there was a plot that I didn't quite understand, but it just was a series I was reading and I was like, okay, big dude fighting big dudes. Great, I love that. Fun, but where is this story actually going in the long term? That was something that I couldn't really grasp. So that was a series I really had high hopes for, and I really wanted to collect it because, I mean, the releases are beautiful, and the art is beautiful, but it was just reading the first 2 volumes, I was like, where is this actually going? This video is full of hot takes. Like, all of these are pretty popular series. Okay, so the next manga series I actually dropped is another one that I went in so excited about because I've heard really good things about and a lot of people really recommended it to me. And I one day just decided to pick it up and I read it all and I don't even know what I read. And that series is Fire Punch. So Fire Punch is actually done by the same creator of Chainsaw Man. And that was another big draw for me to the series because I was like, okay, I love Chainsaw Man. It's one of my favorite ongoing shonens. Well, ongoing, it's done, but like the second part, you know what I mean. It's one of my favorite shonens right now, and I was just really excited to see what his other works were like. And I picked up Fire Punch, and what did I read? I don't even know what I read, if I'm being completely honest. I read the entire thing, and the entire time I was just sitting there and I was like, what's the plot? What's actually happening? Like, the only thing I can really remember from this story is like our main character is just this dude who is on fire eternally, and he goes around and I don't even know what he does. He just goes around doing things. I legitimately couldn't quite grasp my mind around what the actual plot was. And also the ending. What was the ending? If you tried to ask me the plot of Fire Punch, I don't know how I would explain it to you. I tried explaining it to you before when the guy was on fire, but I literally have no idea what the plot was. And maybe that's just my stupidity. It could very well be, but it was just kind of a confusing and just weird, like really weird series throughout. Like, don't get me wrong, I read some weird stuff, but that was like weird to the point of like I couldn't process what was happening. And also there were some things that happened in the story like that I didn't like at all, that were like, why am I reading this right now? It's making me very uncomfortable. It's just very kind of grotesque. I don't want to read this. This is just not okay. So all of that to say, I think the biggest thing was I just didn't know what I read. And I couldn't process it because I didn't know what I was reading. It was just also confusing. The ending didn't do anything for me. It just wasn't for me. So I dropped Fire Punch. I literally cannot, I can't. I literally don't know what I read. Okay, the next manga series that I dropped is another one that is very highly regarded. Literally all of these are gonna get me canceled, I swear. So the next one that I actually decided to drop is Kaiji. So Kaiji is actually a very, very well-known, very popular gambling manga that is recently being published by Denpa. This one kind of hurt to give up because, so I read the first 2 omnibuses by Denpa. I think it's Denpa. Yeah, I think it's Denpa. I read the first 2 omnibuses by Denpa, and this is what I thought. I loved the concept. It was a very unique concept. I haven't read anything like Kakegurui or any other gambling manga, so this was just very different in my mind, which I did really appreciate. But my problem is that my reading experience of Kaiji went like this. I keep trying to want to say Kaiju, like Kaiju number 8, but not Kaiju, Kaiji, okay? My reading experience for this series went like this. The beginning and the end of the volumes were great. I loved the beginning and the end. I thought they were very interesting. I thought the art is very unique. Like, I actually genuinely did like the art. The art wasn't what turned me away. My problem was the middle of the volumes, or the actual main plot of each volume. It was just so slow. I could not get over how painfully slow it was at times. Like, I was reading the volume, like cracking that puppy open. The first part was great. I loved the first part. First part was very interesting. The middle part took me, I think I spent like 2 days on the second volume of Kaiji, because I was reading it, I primarily read at night. I was reading it and I was like, not even halfway through, I was getting so tired, I closed it. When I don't finish a volume of manga completely, because a volume is pretty quick to get through depending on the series, if I don't finish a volume of manga completely in one sitting, that's when you know that it's freaking slow to me. So I was reading it one night, you know, put my bookmark in, closed it, and finished it the other night, and it was so difficult. Essentially the middle, or at least for the 2 volumes that I read, the middle parts of the series is just them going through gambling matches and just different games, which there were parts that were very interesting and there were parts that, you know, I did enjoy, but a lot of it's just very much like strategy kind of heady stuff, which isn't always a bad thing. Like, I honestly, in a lot of situations, I do like kind of the mental aspect of it all, but this was almost too much mental aspect. It was like, I was sitting here reading it, and I was like, okay, to be fair, it was like, probably like 12 in the morning, and I was sitting there just like, what am I actually reading right now? I am exhausted, I can't mentally comprehend this. I mean, we were talking about the stock market at certain points, and I don't need to go back to my econ days. Like, there was just a lot of like, heady kind of mental massive brain stuff that I wasn't super like in love with in the middle. Like, it just got so slow. Legitimately struggled so hard in those 2 volumes, and it's so sad because I wanted to like it, and I know a lot of people really do like it, and I could see the potential in the series, but I just couldn't get over how slow the middle part of the volumes were. The last manga series I decided to drop that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is Jujutsu Kaisen. You guys probably know this if you've seen me for any lengths of time. I think Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the most overrated series right now. I cannot. It is just, okay. Wow, I'm really getting heated right now, and I'm not trying to. So, okay, I did own at one point all of what was, you know, released in Jujutsu Kaisen. So 0, I think through like, I stopped collecting around volume 11, 12 or so. I think it was around volume 12. I had the entire, like, what was, you know, physically released, and I read all the volumes, and I was just waiting for it to get good, and it never got good to me, in my opinion. I was so confused throughout a majority of the series. I didn't completely understand how the power systems worked. There were some arcs that I really enjoyed, like the Gojo Pass arc I thought was really, really good, and the Shibuya arc, I thought it wasn't bad. Like, it had some potential, but it wasn't like something that I was really in love with. You know, when I was reading the series, I was reading it and I was thinking to myself, this series is trying to be something that it's not, and this is not something that I can completely articulate because I don't even know how to describe it. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen feels like it's trying to be kind of like edgier than it needs to be, or like weirder and like kind of quirky in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like when I read the series, I got the vibe that it was trying to be something that it wasn't. But Jujutsu Kaisen just seemed like it tried to be like different. It's like when a girl is like, I'm not like other girls. Like, I feel like that is what I thought of when I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm like, why? It feels like you're trying to be something that you're not. Basically, I'm just pooping on Jujutsu Kaisen right now. I think it's exceedingly overrated. That's my take on Jujutsu Kaisen. You can hate me, it's okay. I just think Jujutsu Kaisen is exceedingly overrated. I mean, when I compare it to Chainsaw Man, I think Chainsaw Man is better tenfold. So guys, those were 5 more manga series that I decided to drop. I realize that a lot of these series are very popular and a lot of people really like them. And that's primarily why I decided to pick them up. You know, I picked them up thinking like, okay, a lot of people really enjoyed this series, it's probably gonna be good. And while that's true for a lot of the series that I picked up, it's not true for these. And I just wanted to reiterate the fact my opinions are not objective truth. I'm not saying that I have the infinite power to determine whether a series is good or bad. If you like these series that I listed on today's video, good. I'm so glad that you do. We all have different preferences, and that's how it should be. These videos are always very interesting because they definitely get a lot of feedback and a lot of responses from people, which is great. I love communicating with you guys. So yeah, those were some 5 hot takes for you guys today. I would love to know, what are some manga series that you've decided to drop recently, whether they're popular or not. Honestly, the more controversial, the better in my opinion. So guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can respect my opinion like I, of course, respect yours. So guys, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.